everybody! Last week, Mommy and Daddy took me and my big brother Sawyer to visit Jasper National Park. I was here 2 years ago, but spent a lot of time with a dog sitter. This year, Mommy told me that I was a big boy and could go on adventure with the rest of the family. When we arrived in Jasper, we found out our hotel room was not ready yet. So Daddy took us on a drive south to Sunwapta Falls. We all had our photos taken with the falls in the background. Then we headed off to the lower falls, located 2 kilometers from the upper falls. We figured silly old Daddy would give up and go sit in the car, and since he is a slowpoke, we left him in our dust.
Well, I'm on the hike down to the lower falls at Sunwapta Falls. Carrie, Bandit, and Sawyer have left me on my own here, so I'm trying to catch up to them.
I'd better get going. Hopefully they're not too far ahead. Imagine our surprise when we were coming back from the lower falls and came across Daddy still making his way down. Daddy is a stubborn old goat and insisted on seeing the lower falls before we headed back to the car. Daddy was all tuckered out from his hike, so Mommy drove us back to Jasper, where we checked into the hotel for a nice quiet night. In the morning, after a good night's sleep, we all got up and had a nice leisurely breakfast. Then we got ready to head up to Mount Edith Cavell, located 27 kilometers southwest of the town of Jasper. The last 19 kilometers of the journey to Mount Edith Cavell is on a winding, steep mountain road with lots of curves and switchbacks. But Daddy got us there safely anyways. The main area up at Mount Edith Cavell is a valley carved out by the glaciers many years ago, with piles of rocks on either side and a hanging glacier overlooking the valley called the Angel Glacier. There was also a secondary trail called the Cavell Meadows Trail that Sawyer went up on his own. But there was a sign at the bottom of the trail that said that dogs are not allowed, so I could not go with Sawyer. Aw, shucks! While we waited for Sawyer, Mommy took my photo on many different rocks and by a stream. Eventually, we met up with Sawyer again and headed out to our next location in Jasper National Park, which was Athabasca Falls. We all had our photos taken by the falls, then took a walk down the old dry canyon that was carved out by the river many centuries ago. We then headed back to Jasper for a lunch break. After lunch, I remained in the hotel room with Daddy to have a nap while Mommy and Sawyer went up the Jasper tram to the top of Whistler Mountain. Once Mommy and Sawyer got to the top of the mountain, they learned dogs were allowed, and that I could have gone with them. Oh well, maybe next time. Mommy and Sawyer had a wonderful time exploring the top of Whistler Mountain, and even made it to the summit before heading back down. After Mommy and Sawyer got back, we took a quick trip up to Pyramid Lake Island, located above the town of Jasper, before heading back to the hotel and calling it a night. After a restful night in the hotel, we had a hearty breakfast and started our last full day in Jasper National Park. Our first stop was Moline Canyon, located about 11 kilometers east of the town of Jasper, which is the deepest canyon in Jasper National Park. Some parts of the canyon plunge up to 50 meters below the path and bridges. The canyon trail is a somewhat rugged path, which is very steep in some parts. The Moline River in the canyon is crossed by a series of 6 bridges, the second of which crosses the deepest part of the canyon. Daddy dropped off me, Mommy, and Sawyer at the first bridge, and he waited for us at the 6th bridge, which was a 3.6 kilometer hike and took us about an hour and a half to complete. I walked through lots of mud puddles on our hike, and Mommy made me wash my paws in the river before getting back in the car. Finally, Daddy drove us to Moline Lake, which is located another 40 kilometers up the Moline Lake Road. We had lunch, then went on a hike along the shoreline. Then Mommy and Sawyer went on an hour and a half boat trip on the lake. Since dogs were not allowed on the boat, I had to wait on the shore with Daddy. Mommy told me that the boat took her and Sawyer to Spirit Island, where a famous photo was taken before returning to the dock. Well, folks, that concludes my story of my latest trip to Jasper National Park. Till we meet again, everyone keep safe and well. Love you, Auntie Char.